Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, great to be back.
Today we're rocketing into the future of satellite technology,
Definitely rocketing.
focusing on this company called Space42.
Super interesting company.
We'll take a look at some launch videos, a peek behind the scenes of the UAE's ambitious space program,
Yeah, it's pretty ambitious.
and even a little satellite drama.
Always a little drama out there in space.
So let's get started with some SpaceX news.
Yeah, love me some SpaceX news.
They launched the Thuraya 4 satellite for Space42 on January 3rd.
Yeah, just a couple days ago.
It was their first launch of the year.
And from what I've read, they're aiming for something like 175 to 180 launches for the entire year of 2025,
Wow.
which is just mind-boggling to think about.
Yeah. To put that into perspective, that's more than the rest of the world combined.
It really shows you how quickly this whole industry is growing.
Absolutely. And how much opportunity there is.
It's definitely opportunity.
I mean, they even released this cool video of the Falcon 9 taking off and landing on their drone ship. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. And the crazy thing is that that booster had already flown 19 times.
Wow. Talk about reusability.
It's like a space Uber.
Haha. For satellites. But let's talk about the company behind Thuraya 4 Space42.
Yeah, so they're a pretty new company.
Yeah, they're just formed from a merger.
Between Yahsat, which is a UAE-based satellite operator, and Bayanat, which is like an AI powerhouse.
Okay, so you've got this satellite company and an AI company coming together.
And their goal is pretty clear,
What's that?
to be a global leader in this whole AI-powered space technology.
And I read that they're really focusing on emerging markets.
That's right. I think I even have a quote here somewhere.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so Ali Al-Hashemi, Space42's CEO, said that Thuraya 4 will unlock innovative AI-powered services.
What exactly does that even mean?
Well, we'll get into that, but what it means for someone like you who's listening, who's trying to build a business, is opportunity.
I like the sound of that.
Me too.
Okay, so we've got this new, ambitious company aiming to be a global leader.
Yeah.
But what exactly is Thuraya 4?
Good question, because this is really the heart of this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
So imagine it like a giant connectivity hub up in space.
Right.
It's a mobile connectivity satellite providing voice and data services.
Got it.
And the coverage area is massive.
Like how massive?
Europe, Africa, Central Asia, and the Middle East.
Whoa.
And it's got this massive 12-meter L-band antenna
What's that for?
to make sure it can reach all those places, even the remote ones.
Okay, so we're talking connecting people and businesses all over the world,
Especially in places where it's hard to get a good signal.
which is a game changer for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
there's a little backstory here that we need to cover.
Oh, yeah, a little drama.
Remember we mentioned those two aging Boeing satellites? Well, it turns out there were actually supposed to be three. Back in April 2024, Thuraya 3, one of Yahsat's older satellites, had a major problem.
What kind of project?
A payload anomaly, I think they called it.
So like a malfunction?
Yeah, pretty much.
How bad was it?
Well, from what I read, it caused all sorts of service disruptions and a lot of lost revenue for Yahsat.
Ouch. So this new satellite is kind of like making up for that lost one.
Yeah, and it also highlights that space ventures can be really risky,
Definitely things don't always go according to plan out there.
which must have made things even more difficult for Space42.
It probably set their plans back a bit.
For sure. But it looks like they're pushing forward with this multi-orbit strategy.
Yeah, they're not putting all their eggs in one basket,
So Thuraya 4 is in geostationary orbit,
right over the same spot on Earth all the time.
but they've also ordered two low Earth orbit spacecraft from Airbus.
Different orbits for different purposes.
What's the strategy there?
Well, a geostationary orbit, like where Thuraya 4 is great for covering a wide area consistently,
Okay.
but low Earth orbit puts satellites much closer to Earth.
And what's the advantage of that?
Much lower latency for data transfer and real-time applications.
So things that need to happen super fast.
Exactly, like self-driving cars, remote surgery, even just really fast internet.
So they're covering all their bases.
Yeah, it's a smart move.
So we've got this new company leveraging AI and this multi-orbit strategy.
Yeah.
But what are they actually going to do with all this?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah, and I guess that's what we're going to explore next.
Exactly. Stay tuned. We'll dive into that in part 2 of this deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive into Space42 and all this cool satellite tech.
Before the break, we were talking about their multi-orbit strategy.
Right, and those two mysterious low Earth orbit spacecraft they ordered from Airbus.
Yeah, what's the big deal with low Earth orbit anyway?
So imagine you're trying to send a signal to a satellite way out in geostationary orbit.
Okay.
That signal has to travel over 35,000 kilometers.
Wow, that's far.
There and back, so that takes time.
Which is a problem for anything that needs to happen in real time.
Right, things like self-driving cars or remote surgery.
Even just having really fast internet.
Exactly. With low Earth orbit, the satellites are much closer.
Makes sense.
So you don't need such powerful signals.
Yeah.
You can launch smaller, cheaper satellites.
Oh, and you can launch more of them.
Exactly. It's like building this network of data relays that are constantly zipping around the planet.
Okay, I like that image. A network of satellites in low Earth orbit constantly collecting data.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about the possibilities.
Look, what kind of possibilities?
Imagine being able to access real-time data on everything.
Everything.
Weather patterns, traffic flow, crop yields, natural disasters.
You could monitor deforestation track, illegal fishing, even predict famines.
All of that.
This kind of information could completely change how we respond to things.
Absolutely. It's not just about reacting, though.
What do you mean?
Think about the opportunities for businesses.
Okay.
Imagine a logistics company being able to track their shipments in real time anywhere in the world.
Or a farmer being able to monitor the health of their crops, like down to the individual plant.
That's the power of this technology.
It sounds like this data could be incredibly valuable.
It definitely is.
But let's get back to those mysterious Airbus spacecraft.
Yeah. What do you think they're building?
Any new theories?
Well, given their focus on AI and emerging markets, I wouldn't be surprised if they were developing a system for precision agriculture.
Using satellite imagery, that would be huge, especially in regions that struggle with drought or limited resources.
Right. It could help farmers make the most of what they have.
What else could they be working on?
Well, they could also be focusing on environmental monitoring.
Okay.
Using those satellites to track deforestation pollution levels or even the impacts of climate change.
I can see that being valuable for a lot of different people.
Governments, researchers, businesses looking to be more sustainable.
But it's important to remember that Space 42 is operating in a very dynamic market.
Oh, for sure.
The satellite industry is getting more competitive every day.
New companies are popping up all the time.
And new technologies are emerging all the time.
It's not just a race to develop the best technology, though.
What else is it?
It's also a business race.
Right. They need to figure out how to make money.
Exactly. How does Space 42 position itself in this rapidly evolving landscape?
It's like they need to carve out their own niche, find their own unique selling proposition.
Right, and I think that's where their multi-orbit strategy comes in.
Having both geostationary and low Earth orbit satellites
gives them flexibility and a wider range of services.
It's like building a portfolio of space-based assets.
Each one tailored to specific needs.
That's pretty smart.
And remember, it's not just about the satellites themselves.
What else is there?
Space 42 is also developing the software and the AI to process and analyze all that data.
That's a lot of data.
A massive amount, and that's where the real value comes in.
Turning raw data into insights that can be used to solve problems and create opportunities.
And this is where things get exciting for entrepreneurs.
How so?
If you're thinking about how space technology could impact your business, you need to be thinking about how you can leverage this data.
What problems can I solve with the insights gleaned from space?
Exactly. It's a whole new world of possibilities.
I'm starting to get a little overwhelmed.
It's a lot to take in. We've talked about SpaceX launches, multi-orbit strategies, low Earth orbit, AI-powered satellites.
That's a lot.
But remember, at its core, this is all about using technology to solve problems and create a better future.
That's a good way to look at it, and I guess we'll continue exploring all of this in the final part of our deep dive. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our look at Space 42 and the future of satellite technology. And before the break, we were talking about all these incredible new opportunities this tech is unlocking.
Especially for entrepreneurs.
Exactly. For decades, space was this exclusive club, just for governments and giant corporations.
Yeah, it was super expensive and complex.
It felt so out of reach.
Like something out of Star Wars.
But now things are changing so fast.
Right, thanks to companies like Spacex pushing the boundaries and driving down those launch costs.
And the technology itself is getting smaller and more powerful.
So now space is opening up to a much wider group of players.
Startups, smaller companies, research groups.
Even universities are getting in on the action.
This is what you were talking about before, right?
Yeah.
The democratization of space.
Exactly. It's kind of like what happened with the internet.
I was just thinking that.
Remember back in the early days?
Yeah.
It was mostly academics and the military using it.
This niche technology that most people didn't even know about.
Then all of a sudden, boom, it exploded and transformed everything.
So you're saying we could be on the verge of a similar transformation with space technology?
I think it's already happening.
Really?
Look around. Companies are using satellite data to do things that were unimaginable a few years ago.
Give me some examples.
They're managing forests, tracking global shipping in real time, bringing internet access to remote communities, even helping farmers.
Wait, helping farmers? How?
That's what they call precision agriculture.
Okay.
They're using satellites and AI to optimize farming practices.
That sounds amazing.
It has the potential to revolutionize food production, especially in parts of the world facing those challenges.
The challenges from climate change and all that.
Exactly, and this is where Space 42's focus on emerging markets gets really interesting.
Yeah, they seem to be taking a very global approach.
They're not just building cool tech, they're thinking about how to apply it to solve real-world problems.
In places that really need it.
Places that haven't always benefited from these kinds of advancements.
It's like they're using space technology to level the playing field.
I like that way of putting it, and it's not just about providing access to information.
What else?
It's about empowering communities, giving them tools to build a better future.
That's a powerful vision.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm also a little bit wary.
Where
All this talk about the democratization of space, it sounds great in theory, but aren't there also potential downsides?
You're right, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
More players in space means more complexity,
More competition.
potentially more conflict.
All of that is true, so it's important to be aware of those risks.
What are some of the things we need to be thinking about?
Well, for one, space debris.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
The more stuff we launch into orbit, the more junk we create.
And that junk can cause problems.
Serious problems. It can collide with other satellites, even the International Space Station.
I remember reading about a satellite collision a few years ago that created thousands of pieces of debris.
Yeah, it was a mess, and those pieces can cause more collisions.
It's like a chain reaction.
Exactly, and it's only going to get worse as we launch more and more satellites.
Okay, so space junk is definitely something to worry about.
It is, and then there's the whole issue of data security.
Right, satellites are collecting a ton of information.
Some of it very sensitive, so we need to think about how to protect that data.
From hackers or misuse or even government surveillance.
All of that is a concern, and then there's the question of international cooperation.
With more countries and companies launching satellites, how do we ensure everyone plays by the rules?
It's tricky. There are international treaties and agreements, but they haven't always kept up with how fast technology is moving.
So we need clearer guidelines and better mechanisms for resolving disputes.
Otherwise, space could become another battleground.
Another area for conflict and tension.
Exactly. It's not what anyone wants, but it's a real possibility if we're not careful.
So a lot to think about.
A lot of potential, but also a lot of responsibility.
We've covered so much ground today. It's a lot to take in. But I think the main takeaway for me is that space is no longer just about governments and corporations.
It's about all of us.
It's about our shared future, and we all have a role to play in shaping that future.
I think that's a great place to end our deep dive.
It's been a fascinating conversation, and I hope everyone listening learned something new today.
Me too.
It's a complex topic, but also incredibly exciting.
Definitely exciting times ahead.
So thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive, and we'll see you next time for another journey into the world of cutting-edge ideas.